Hey everybody, Sarah here with our furniture flipping adventure, and today I obviously have a very large bench. Now I love benches. I don't know why, maybe they just make me think of a nice crisp fall day outside, but I'm going to be painting up this poor old worn out bench and giving it a fresh start. It's got a crack in the bench that I'm going to have to address, and a lot of worn out, damaged wood. Nothing's rotting or terribly wiggly, so it's still a solid piece, but it definitely needs a little bit of love, and that's what we're going to be giving it today. So come along for the journey and let's get flipping. My first step with any project is to clean it, and I used my crud cutter, which is my go-to cleaner and degreaser. This piece was not particularly very easy to clean. With all of those rungs in the back, it was a pain to wipe down the entire surface, but it is a necessary pain and will help me in the long run. I'm getting ready to put some Bondo on the feet that have been chewed up and destroyed. It's a two-part process. You add a little bit of the putty and then the hardening cream and mix it all together really well, and then it's good to go, and you have a few minutes to work with it until it gets hardened. And then after that, I'm actually going to skip sanding because this old wood is very porous and it's not going to have any problems accepting paint. I'm probably going to do a primer and then get on to my painting. But first I want to take care of all the gouges and areas that need filled in with my Bondo first. I really didn't want to deal with bleed through, so I went ahead and gave this bench a coat of Shellac Based Primer that will seal in any sort of oils that would cause discoloration in my paint, but I kind of ran out partway through and only got the front of it done, so the back didn't get primed. But fortunately for me, no bleed through happened back there. So I'm getting ready to paint this piece. It is all ready. I'm going to be using my paint sprayer. I have my compressor here waiting for me to turn on because it makes a lot of noise. Once I turn it on, you would never be able to hear me. But I struggled for a long time trying to decide what color I wanted to paint this piece, and part of me wanted to paint it something really exciting like red or something. But I got to thinking, like, how many people have the space and need a 6-foot bench? And how many of those people are gonna want a firecracker red bench? Probably not as many people as will be able to fit something a little more neutral into their decor. I love painting exciting colors because it keeps me excited, but I don't want to store this giant bench for forever. And I kind of want it out of my shop pretty quick, so I'm gonna go with something a little more neutral. I have a darker gray color picked out, but I still haven't completely committed to it because there's this really bright blue over there that keeps staring at me. So I'm about ready to paint. I'm gonna let my air compressor warm up, and by then I have to make a final decision on a paint color, so you'll see in just a second what I choose. Now my sprayer did not do a very good job of getting in between those rungs on the back, so I had to go back in by hand and catch all the places that the sprayer missed. Alright, so I'm getting ready to go over my piece with a quick second coat. I'm looking for places where I can still see the primer or wood or whatever is underneath showing through, and getting in between all these slats one more time because there's definitely a few places that I missed in there. So a quick second coat before I can get this piece sealed with my top coat, and I'm going to want to give this piece a really healthy dose of sealer because I will probably recommend that it not be directly outdoors, but I can imagine this on a front porch, maybe covered under a porch or in an entryway, and there's just going to be a lot of wear and tear that's going to go into this piece. So after I get it all painted, I'm going to be taking it out and giving it some healthy top coating to protect it. So I'm getting ready to spray my top coat onto this bench. I'm going to take my time and make sure that I get into all the areas and all the sides, and it's going to be a little meticulous, but I'm just, like I said, I'm going to take my time and make sure that I get it all done right. I have my air compressor all ready to hook up and my mask, and I'm just going to get started. It's a beautiful fall day. It's been in the 80s today, so at least it's cooling down. But we'll go ahead and get started. Did I mention how much I love benches? And this giant one just gave me so much joy to paint. Even though it was a little finicky in between the slats, that's okay. And now that I have it all top coated and ready to go, I'm ready to get pictures of it all nice and staged and ready for a new home. I did end up really liking the color that I chose, even though I kind of wanted to go with something wild. This is going to be a lot more compatible with a lot more people's spaces, so I hopefully will be able to sell it more quickly. But why don't you let me know down in the comments what color bench you would want at your front door. Unfortunately, my porch is nowhere near big enough to fit this giant bench on it, but if it were, don't tell my husband, but it'd be staying. I love benches. I have a smaller one for my house that I'm going to work on eventually, but until then, I have to get pictures of this taken and ready for it to go. There'll be a list in the description of all the products that I used. Here's the costs involved in this flip. If you would help me out by hitting that like button, I'd really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week with my next flip, which is another collaboration with a cozy winter theme. So I hope you'll join us for that. I'm Sarah with our furniture flipping adventure. Bye.